give the judges another shot at it? Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
This isn't just about a single fight. It points to a long-standing issue that has plagued boxing for decades. It's called the A-side bias, the unwritten rule where the more popular or marketable fighter often benefits from the judge's decisions. Canelo Alvarez, with his massive following and rich promotional backing, embodies the A-side. He's the sports moneymaker, its golden ticket. According to Atlas, that status brings an unfair edge. The concern is that judges, knowingly or not, get influenced by the financial side of boxing. They recognize who the promoters favor and who can generate bigger paydays ahead. In tight contests, that awareness can shape the verdict. Atlas views the Crawford fight scorecards as another glaring instance of this bias. Even in a fight that was far from close, the judges seem determined to protect the A-side image and safeguard the business.
If I'm with Canelo, I think I'm happy with Cheatham. But if I'm with Crawford, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, wait a minute, hold on. This guy had, he had Canelo over Bebo.
No,
he had Bebo over Canelo. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. He had it that close. He had
115, 113. Now listen, there's another judge on this card who will be officiating this fight, Crawford versus Canelo, Steve Weisfeld, who also scored at 115, 113. I've more singled out Tim Cheatham because of the inconsistency.
Because of his past record.
Yeah, I didn't think Loma lost to Haney. That was one of them. I just talked about the Zoo versus Fundora, number 1. That one, unbelievable. Richardson Hitchens versus Lemos, way too wide. Just recently, we watched a great fight, Figueroa versus Joet Gonzalez. Way too wide for Figueroa. There's been too many examples of that.
If you need a clear case, Teddy Atlas points directly to one name, Tim Cheatham. The moment this judge was announced, Atlas and Crawford's camp grew uneasy. Why? Because Cheatham has a history of baffling scorecards that defy logic. Take the Bivol versus Canelo fight. Bivol won handily, yet Cheatham scored it 115 to 113, only a round from a draw. That card sparked controversy and raised doubts about his neutrality. And it wasn't the first time. Atlas pointed to other bouts where Cheatham's scoring leaned heavily toward the A-side, the fighter with bigger stakes. For Atlas, his selection for such a monumental fight was a warning flare, signaling Crawford faced obstacles even before the opening bell. What does it say when someone like Teddy Atlas, a lifelong servant of boxing, questions the integrity of the judging? The Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown was promoted as one of the era's greatest spectacles. But beneath the lights and hype, suspicion grew, and the official cards confirmed the worst fears. Atlas was livid. Though the boxing world hailed a new undisputed super middleweight king, the veteran trainer fumed. He had witnessed Crawford's brilliance, a masterclass. Yet the scores read 116 to 112, 115 to 113, 115 to 113, and outrage followed.
The thing that bothered me, there's only one thing that really did bother me, and that's why I don't want a rematch, I'll be honest. I've been in this business 50 years, too long to fool myself. Those judges should be really, they got to look in the mirror to have it that close. There's no way it was that close. Thank God he dominated. Because otherwise we might be here talking the whole different thing and really going nuts, and I would definitely break this thing.
Yes, you would. I believe you.
And maybe that. And I'd owe money. And I don't care, I would pay it. But at the end of the day, that's why I don't want to see it again. He dominated, and the judges had it that close.
Yeah.
Give the judges another shot at it. Forget about the fighters. I don't want to give the judges another shot at it. How's that?
Atlas wasn't the only notable voice stunned by the results. Ex-NFL star and outspoken sports figure Chad Okocinco reacted with disbelief, baffled that the scorecards matched so little of the beating he had just watched. On his show, he stated bluntly, "No way you thought that fight was that close." He echoed Atlas's stance, pure dominance. In his words, Bud dominated, flat out. He landed cleaner shots, harder shots, and was the busier fighter. For both men, the slim margin didn't fit the fight itself. It was a clear signal of a deeper problem within the sport. Okocinco broke it down further, estimating Crawford took at least 9 or 10 rounds. At worst, he said, Bud lost 3. At absolute worst, maybe 2. The consensus among sharp-eyed insiders was unmistakable. The official tallies were nothing more than fiction.
But that was a great display of boxing. And had Bud not made it so convincing, there's no way, ain't no way to judge, because I don't give a damn what they say. And no, I've never been a judge. I've never judged the fight officially. But that's not a 115, 113. That's not a 116, 12. If you watch that fight, there is no way you thought that those scores were that close. Bud dominated that fight. I'm talking about dominated. He landed cleaner shots. He landed the harder shots. He was active. Yeah, okay. So he followed him around the ring. Yeah, he was pressuring him. But guess what? Every time he come in there, he got slapped.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I really, really enjoy it. When it comes to boxing, when it comes to the sweet science, for those who know the game, who know the sport, and are not just casual fans of it, when it's done the right way, it's like art. It's like a puzzle. All you're doing is putting the pieces together. Whatever he does, I got something for that. Whatever you do, if he has something for that, you come back with something else. I mean, it's a beautiful thing when it's done the right way, and I really thoroughly enjoyed tonight's fight.
Bud won at least 9 to 10 of those rounds. Bud won 9 to 10 of those rounds. There's no way in hell, if you watched that fight, you thought Canelo won as many rounds.
Sutherland and Cheatham, they would be the first guys called into the office on Monday if a national czar came in and said, I'm going to start investigating this sport. I'm starting to look at the things that Teddy Atlas talked about and a lot of other people talked about. I'm going to start, and that a lot of fans talk about, that they're leaving the sport because of the bad judging and officiating. I'm going to start to look at it. And the 2 guys I would say to you, sir, whoever you are, I would say, sir, it might be a good place to start with a guy named Sutherland and a guy named, yes, sir, I'm not making this name up. What is the name, Teddy? Cheatham. I had people winning 11 rounds. All right, even if you said 10, you'd be kind of generous. But to have it that close, I mean, come on. And then the other fights you talked about, I mean, he's got a track record where the problem with him isn't just that he's so off and the numbers are so off. They're off for always the A fighter. That's the thing that puts a light on in my mind, that puts a danger light on, is that he's always, Canelo's the A guy always, right? We know that. We don't have to dispute that. So it's not like he's on the side of the B guy. He's always on the side of the guy that the promoter would want to win. That's what bothers me.
The issue stretches far beyond a single judge. Teddy Atlas argues the entire system is broken. In Las Vegas, the mecca of boxing, a small circle of judges controls nearly every major fight. There's no rotation, no fresh perspectives. It's an exclusive club, a closed loop. Atlas believes this closeness undermines fairness. Promoters, commissions, and judges all know one another. They mix business with familiarity. In that environment, lines blur and objectivity collapses. Atlas calls for reform, open the system, hold judges accountable, rotate panels so no official gains unchecked influence. But in boxing's high-stakes world, money reigns supreme, making true reform a distant dream.
If you got the same officials all the time, which we're talking about, you do. I mean, just look, every time there's a big fight, you got the same guys for the most part. And again, I think that you can help a lot by rotating and getting new blood in there, and also geographically looking and saying, don't keep putting every time you put a fight in Vegas, don't put the same guys from there. Bring in guys from different locales. Mix it up a little bit, because you have these promoters that have a relationship and a familiarity where the judges are more prone to go towards them. Why? Why, Teddy? Why? Because they go out to dinner with them, they give money under the table. they do go out to dinner. I'm not saying they give money under the table. I'm not saying that. But they know that those are the guys that butter their bread.
So how did Terence Crawford prevail despite the odds? Atlas insists it's because Crawford is a once-in-a-generation fighter. His gifts aren't just physical, they are mental. Atlas likens him to being digital. While most fighters are solid, leaning on strength, Crawford functions like a supercomputer, calculating, processing, and adapting in real time. He reads opponents, predicts their choices, and exploits weaknesses with surgical precision. Yet his greatest strength comes from something deeper. Years ago, Crawford survived being shot, an ordeal that would break most men. Instead, it hardened him. It gave him a chilling calm, a belief that nothing inside the ropes could match the danger he had already endured. That's the steel that carried him past Canelo, turning pressure into fuel and producing a performance for the ages.
They tried to bury Terence Crawford. They tried to ruin his reputation and say that he wasn't a draw when the numbers were there for you to see. When he went to MSG against guys that didn't have big names or that were faded, like Amir Khan, or when he fought Kavyaskis, he did numbers. There was a smear campaign about his personality. He doesn't talk. Nobody wants to hear him. No, that you don't want to hear. So you try to speak for the masses when the whole time you have a star right here. You got to learn how to talk to this man. Even as recent as his last fight, the fight before Canelo, the smear campaign continued. I don't hear the smear campaign now. Them voices got really, really quiet like they typically do when they get proven wrong. And they either try to jump on the wagon, I knew this kid was going to be that, or they get very, very quiet and they start to retreat back to wherever they came from and they don't have a lot to say. So I'm happy for this brother for that reason, because they tried to bury him, Roy. It didn't work. He overcame that. He said, give me my shot. I'm going to show you. And he kept doing it time and time again, and he did it again against Canelo Alvarez Saturday night.
And what of Canelo Alvarez, the fallen icon? Atlas suggests he wasn't just beaten, he was broken. Crawford didn't only outbox him, he dismantled him mentally, stripped away his confidence, and drained his will to compete. Atlas believes that if Crawford had pressed harder late, Canelo might have quit on his stool. For a man long hailed as the face of boxing, this was a humbling, almost humiliating loss. His legacy now hangs in the balance. Will fans celebrate him as one of the greats, or remember him for a night when both his aura and the judges' credibility collapsed? The dent, as Atlas calls it, is real. And it stretches beyond Canelo, Crawford, or Atlas himself. It cuts into the soul of boxing. It's a warning that the sport risks degrading into a hollow spectacle manipulated by money, greed, and politics. The razor-thin scorecards in a fight that wasn't close expose a sickness eating away at the sport's integrity. And so, we're left with the haunting question, can we still trust what we see in the ring? Or has the sweet science decayed into theater, where the script is written before the bell rings? The answer could decide boxing's future. That's all for today's breakdown. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss what's next. And let us know in the comments, what do you think? Until next time, stay tuned.